Dance, Language, and Media. Okay, so we have a very special moderator with us, a filmmaker, a very inspiring filmmaker, and who actually used Lanaway in one of his short films. To moderate this very awesome panel for us. Okay, so without further ado, let me welcome JP Chua, John Peter Chua, to the stage.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. So today we'll be having the second panel discussion of Dance, Language, and Media Opening. Sorry. Okay, pause it. Alright, so let's start with So Asian Comics. Here we have Kimberly Mas and Cedric Cheng. Let me introduce the both of them for everyone. Kim and Sen are graduates of De La Salle College of St. Benil under the programs of AV Animation and Multimedia Arts, respectively. They also own and run a multimedia design studio, Arsmith's Creative House. And of course, they are the creators behind So Asian Comics. So I'm very excited, so let me hand over the floor to them for their presentation.
Hi! You must be wondering, I'm kidding, because that's what my mom would usually say, and yes, they already introduced us for So Asian Comics, and for people who aren't familiar, we do the, how should I say this, because I don't really have a specific term for it, I just say the Chinese comics over on Facebook. If you guys have seen our works, we'll actually show it later on. I'm Kim, by the way, and this is Ed. We're co-authors of So Asian Comics. We actually draw the comics. And yun, I guess brief background lang about us. So, yung difference lang sa amin, manago, ikaw ko. I know, it's actually a word that's being used nga na sinabi kanina, di ba? And for me, just a little background about myself. My family uses Lanaway. So at home, Lanaway, we're Lanaway. Even, nakutan ko pa yung kaima ko. So they were very strict with the language. And to the point na, short kwento lang na before, I didn't know a certain word. That's how they would teach us, right? It's context-clues learning. And yung pagkaturo sa akin, I remember before there was a time I was asking for milk. So sabi ko, hi ma, ba I dim milk? Sinabi ko ng milk, and then she's like, okay, oh, din sawa, may kongwa na ako yun. Yan yung sinasabi. So, yeah, growing up, I had to really grab these words, like context clues. I had to ask my mom. There was no definite way of like actually teaching Hokkien at home. So, yun, I would say fluent ako. And as for Cedric?
Yeah, on my end naman, basically when I heard Sir Gilbert Guest's speech earlier about Monaco, it shook me to my core because that's literally me. No, and I grew up in a household where yes, I have the quintessential Binondo Chinoy dad, but my mom on the other side was equal Chinese. So I was able to like observe and contrast how different and how lax one community would be versus the other. And on my end, yes, I was that rebel child before because my experiences before with Chinoy culture wasn't ideal, where I would experience public beratation from elders for not knowing a lot of things, even though I was never taught these things. So it was probably a software patch that I never downloaded, whatever. But so yeah, I was a rebel child, and I didn't want to do anything about my Chinoy culture growing up. So I would be so adamant about my own individuality and all that. But with So Asian Comics, well, basically, it became an outlet for, I guess, our deconstruction and our, how to say this? It became a platform for us to share our experiences and our observations with growing up in a traditional or Chinoy household.
Yeah, I guess siguro kwento lang din. The first time I met Cedric's parents, and for context lang, kung hoing, para hindi na talaga mamaya, okay. First time I met his parents, he doesn't bring over a lot of like mga Lanang friends over. Kasi he went to an art school.
Benil and multimedia arts, there's not really a lot of Chinoys over there.
Yeah. So imagine like when he introduced me to his dad, I was like, hi uncle, ho ami. But that's what was taught to me, right? Like if you see parents of your friends, greet them properly.
Usually when I would bring my friends over, my friends are here, but I would be like, And then when I brought him over, I made him, and I was like, who is she?
Yeah, and then ano pa sabi niya? Yung ano?
Even though during this time, like, we were just friends, and my dad would be like, why don't you date her? Tipo, Cedric, no.
So super funny lang. And then, you know, when the comics came up, it's funny. For context, how we did this before we were together pa. So yung first which explains our first comic, I'm pretty sure some of you guys who are on social media, you guys have seen this comic. And na kwento rin kanina ni Sir Gilbert kay kanina na yung paba. Diba? It's a combination of Lanakwe and Filipino. And this was an actual line that his dad mentioned. And for ano rin, little background about our character, si Hawking. He's actually
my dad.
You'll see photos later. Pero sige, ikaw naman expound.
So, you know, because Soul Asian Comics was like our outlet and I thought that, you know what, I think my dad would make the perfect main character for our comics. Because he looks like the quintessential Binondo Chinoy dad. To the point that we would have readers who would take photos of random strangers in Chinese restaurants who would look like Kauke and send it over to our inbox. Like, should we do a contest?
Yeah, and it's funny. Just a little background lang rin about the comic is, if you notice, medyo maliit kasi siya dito. We actually have a translation of Boba Ba right down there. And that time, we were just doing the page for fun. Like, we were like, yeah, whatever. Natatawa lang kami. We wanted to post it online.
We didn't really know
we didn't know our audience. We didn't know the reach it. Because as far as I know, we went to an art school and wala kami masyadong mga lana na friends. Like, the only friends I had na yung Chinese that was from my high school, which was Ika. So, ayun, we had the translation there. Again, we didn't know our reach. But since nag-viral siya, we decided to do another one, and to expound on this, parang ito na yung, nag-combine na yung mga Gen Z terms, millennial terms, even Mandarin there. So, this was actually Sed's idea, so maybe you want to expound on that.
So basically, these first two comics that we had for Soul Asian Comics, and with the style of narration, like, this basically, like, informed our direction in terms of communication towards our audience, where we would mix Lanangwe with Filipino and then with Gen Z and millennial terms. And this was basically, it wasn't intentional, but it was more of like, because this was what I observed. And I realized how malleable Lanangwe can be once you combine it with others. And that was how we came up with our shirts before, with Kai Shaobol, right?
You guys will see more of that later. And yeah, funny kasi we put our old studio address down here. It's room 206. If di na kaya ampaw, please do not send it there. We're no longer there. So yun, I'm not sure if we have a lot more time, but like these were our earlier comics. Can we go back here? We kind of talked a lot about different aspects of being Chinoy na rin, apart from the language, like funny experiences that we have as, Chinoys. This one is like Bechatalo, Chinsai, and then eventually you end up in a Chinese restaurant. So, things like that we actually experience every day.
Yeah. So so this was based and that humor basically informed all of our stuff, our merch, right? Sana Dongzong.
Ayan, natatawa na kayo kasi kita nyo na.
So we have something for everybody.
Yeah, so I think the pinaka-common combination of Gen Z terms and more millennial terms is these two right here. Kay Shaobol and Pepe Approved. Sino kay Shaobol pa dito? Uy! Ayan, meron pala dyan. So yeah, we combine mga Gen Z terms, millennial terms, and with Lanangwe. And it became really accepted by the younger generation. And a little background lang din, I have a shorty, he's 5 years younger than me. He can speak Lanangwe. And recently we had this conversation. He was telling me that not a lot of people in the younger generation speak anymore. Like, I mean, they can understand a few words, but they can't really speak anymore. And we're happy that, our comics actually would kind of connect that younger generation to older people because they can pick up words, but not everything. So, having that, it's a little bit more accessible and naging,
So I think it's more of like with So Asian Comics, as it started live, like what I mentioned earlier, as just our creative outlet to basically share our experiences growing up in Chinoy households. Like even though we have two different experiences, there are many things now. I mean, we can compare and we can contrast, which also like informed our humor for So Asian Comics. Like I would cite one example where we had a comic about whenever it's Chinese New Year, we would have our Filipino friends ask us about Uipeng and Ikoy, right? Of course. And then with that, I would think like, you know what? I wonder if there's a holiday where Chinoys can do that towards their Filipino friends. So then we released a comic, Linggo ng Wika, and then Chinoy, Bibingka Kakanin, Kuchinta. And what was funny was that when we released that comic, it fostered like funny and humorous interactions between Chinoy and Filipino circles. Like, oy, tingnan mo si Kikoy supplier, maganda na. So, you have stuff like that. So,
Sige, we unintentionally like pioneered like a lot of things. Like, nung una talaga, it's really a joke. We just wanted to do it for laughs lang. It's all for giggles, but eventually we said, okay, we can actually use this platform to further elevate Lanang Way to the younger generation. And I think we're kind of doing that right now, so hopefully we'll have more of that in the future.
So kasi with the unintentional like success of So Asian Comics, parang a lot of people started messaging us na encouraged us na, hey, you know, this is something that you should continue because there's not a lot of people who do this online, let alone on social media and in a popular format such as comics, right?
It's easy to digest, and it's online. A lot of the kids are online right now, so yung mga Gen Z, they will pick it up immediately. So yun, we're happy to have brought that to the table.
And what happened with that was that for a lot of people, they would say that unintentionally, our comics basically brought Chinoy culture to a new light. A lot of people would say that, because before, like myself, I would be intimidated with anything Chinoy related, Lanang Way, Chinoy culture, because I would think of my experiences before. But with So Asian Comics, it basically portrayed Lanang culture and Lanang Way in a new light, in a more humorous lens. So it made it more approachable to the younger generations to be more curious and to be more in touch with their roots.
Yeah, so since medyo kengkong nga talaga kami dalawa, we just wanted to put out more comics na can reach yung Gen Z market. And usually kasi when we're taught Lanang Way, parang minsan, di ba, very serious. Like I experienced with my time, I had to find the word on my own, right? So with putting Lanang Way in a more lighter or humorous light, right, it's easier than for the younger kids to kind of absorb that and take it in.
And that along with the merch and with the funny catchphrase that we would come up with. Parang it's nice. This is basically, I would say now, how we made, in our own little way, how we made Lanang Way and Chinoy culture like more relevant in the age of social media and such. And with that, in return, So Asian Comics actually taught us a lot of things, right?
New sense of purpose rin for us. So we've been releasing a couple of comics like in between. Like if it's not funny, it's a bit more informative. So we have like, hindi namin talaga yun dito, but the title of the mini comic was Hokkien for Gonggong. So it's like, look it up, it's on our Facebook, and it's like little tiny funny snippets of kind of explaining a certain word, pero in a funnier way. We didn't get a screen cap of that, or just look at it over on our Facebook page. So we have a couple of that. Ano tatawin yung mga words kasi namin nilabas.
And also, like on my part, like with So Asian Comics, it basically, on a personal level, it also taught me to be more like vocal about the things that happens inside Chinoy cultures. It basically has taught me to champion our Chinoy heritage and language, but at the same time also to question why we do certain things, and also to touch upon certain lines of conversations and topics that sometimes that would previously be labeled as taboo.
Yeah.
So such as, for example, would be like mental health. It's not something that a lot of people talk about within their circles. Same thing with, let's say, misogyny within the Chinoy community, and also what it's like to be, let's say, an LGBT while being Chinoy.
Just to add in, the comics actually bridged Sed with his dad because they're not really that close. So when the comics came out, they actually talked a little bit more and connected a little bit more, right?
It was funny because with So Asian Comics, right, coming from someone who used to rebel against his heritage, against his upbringing, it became like a 180-degree turn for me to suddenly have So Asian Comics to champion these ideals and to be touched, that we get invited as to be resource persons for talks like these. So.
Okay, oh, there you go, wait. Okay, these are our initial ideas, but we won't dive into that. So we were talking about the inspirations that we had earlier, and boom, there you go. Where do we get our inspirations from? Our family. And syempre, naririnig ko na yung boses ng mom ko. Yeah, so we actually get a lot of our inspirations from family gatherings, yung mga aunties and uncles namin. Mostly from my mom, actually, who's a quintessential Binondo mom. She's right over here, over there on the left side. And then, ayan, yan si Tauke. Hindi naman yung pamukha ng comic character namin. So, it's really a slice of life. And, based from our experiences talaga. So, those are our inspirations. And yes, we have to put the photos here, we're very red.
Yep. And so basically with So Asian Comics, it became this I guess this platform where a lot of people would also message us rin about, hey, it's nice that they have something online that they could resonate with, and it's and for us, like personally, I'm proud of what So Asian Comics has become throughout the years, like from initially an outlet for our personal experiences to eventually become like a platform for a lot of Chinoys who have gone through the same experiences as us, to have something na parang, pwede pala maging Chinoy, even though I may not normally fit the standards of what my elders have installed upon me.
Yeah, so I think, is there anything else that we want to add? So there, you guys can check us out over at Facebook, Instagram, and we have a Spotify account where we put like mga lanang kwa over there. So yeah, just check it out for that. So I think that's it. Anything else?
And with that, I also want to plug in. We have a podcast with Sansi called Now Steaming. So that's the podcast where we talk about topics that would normally be taboo.
It's a little bit more serious because our branding is all about humor here in the comics. So we don't usually put out like serious content. I mean, there are times that we do, but mostly it's like humors, right? Like you've seen our content, it's all about like natatawa ka lang talaga sa dulo. So the podcast is called Now Steaming Podcast. It will be released by the end of this month or sa Ghost Month. So abangan nyo na lang yan. It's over at Spotify, Now Steaming Podcast. So there, if you guys wanna talk to Sandy's right over there at the back.
And also, one more thing, tomorrow, I think So Asian Comics will bring some merch here for you guys to view as well. So come by tomorrow. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much, Kip and Seth, for your very insightful talk. It's really nice to hear other creatives with the same struggles of trying to fit in with your family. Okay, so let me introduce our next speaker for Hokkien in TikTok. So we have Justin Chua. Justin creates TikTok content that teaches Chinese in his free time to preserve Hokkien and enhance Mandarin proficiency among the Lanang and the native Filipinos. A youth empowerment advocate, he was the president of Manila Downtown YMCA Youth Club, the current advisor of the Youth Club Summer Camp, and done work with the Initiative for the Study of Asian Catholics. He recently graduated, right? Yes. He recently about it. Congratulations, Justin. It's even my round. He recently graduated from the Ateneo de Manila University with a bachelor's degree in management with minors in sustainability and financial economics. So let's have Justin come up the stage.
Thank you! So I have rehearsed that for quite a few number of So, okay, today I'll talk about Hokkien in TikTok. And my name is Justin. Others may know me as Atsep, but I'm not really Atsep. I'm 23 years old, and yeah, that's my parang peg. The branding is Uncle Roger. So, there are two parts to this very quick sharing, I would like to call it. The first one is about the data on TikTok, because it's such a promising platform. So we'll talk about that. And the second part are stories that I'd like to share with you in this journey of mine as I make videos about our culture and language. So, I don't know if some of you might find this boring, but TikTok, there's this new invention these days, and it's called the short video platform. So these are the videos that you see if you use Facebook. There might be some who took these reels in Instagram and TikTok. These are very short videos that last for a maximum of 5 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes. The shortest being 10 seconds or 30 seconds. And it's the most, TikTok is the most searched for short form video platform globally. On average, Gen Z users spend nearly 22 days on TikTok annually, that's 508 hours. And TikTok has been responsible for most of the impulsive buying of young people these days. Yeah, it's may say a revolutionary platform because it's changing the way people use their phones and changing the entertainment industry as well. So for us here in the Philippines, we have 49.09 million active TikTok users. Our population is 150 million. This is a big number. And our user growth rate is steadily increasing. So the demographics for our user base, this is globally, 1 in 4 TikTok users are under 20 years old. So it's a predominantly young population that watches the videos in TikTok. So the majority of these creators even are 18 to 24 years old. Talagang young people are in this app, as I keep saying. And 53, just slightly a bit more than half of the users are female. And yeah, other impact numbers there. But what I'd like to direct your attention to is this, yeah, the age brackets of the users. So even I was surprised when I looked this up in the internet. 10 to 19 years old, sila yung pinakamarami. Tapos sumunod 20 to 29, 30 to 39, and 40 to 49. Pinakamababa obviously are 50 plus years old users of TikTok. So the creators naman are usually 18 to 24 years old. And the next bracket are 13 to 17 years old. So these are minors. So talagang, yeah, below college age. And these are the parents' feedback on TikTok and its effects on young people. So for the parents here, these might be your common concerns with the app. So of course with TikTok there are some trade-offs, we say. So there are inappropriate content. So all of those things on the leftmost part, and then privacy and safety, of course. There are also some concerns with your privacy and harassment, things like that. And also, on the rightmost part, there's this thing of cyberbullying and other things concerning mental health. So these are what parents usually complain about with the app. So there, I showed you the numbers, and we can see with just a quick Google search and a quick, a little bit of discerning that TikTok is such a powerful instrument to influence the young. Because we see so many TikTok trends, that people do, right? And that we do, the TikTokers, and somehow it translates to their way of life and eventually their worldview. Right? So I'll tell you the stories to elaborate more on that, but let's just take a second here to understand how TikTok can actually, influenced a lot of the behavior of young people like us and younger people than me. So yeah. So this I put this here because this is what my Ama used to tell me a lot. And Gong, so Gong is in Hokkien is what some people already mentioned earlier is parang stupid. But for me, growing up, I know my Ama loved me a lot, and for me it already became a term of endearment. So my first video actually was to take a poke of fun at that and make a video saying something di like kids or like Chelsea and all those videos. So I initially had that as my inspiration, and until now I do. I'll show you the video very quickly. It's the video when I was starting to make yung mga quick Hokkien tutorials. So it's this.
咱们做 grocery ，grocery 叫什么？grocery 叫超市，我平常也做人认识，所以大家知影吼，咱差不多这个圣诞节是9月咧开始。本来前辈你都大有啥？这个是红酒还是葡萄酒买？啊，我是都家己豆仔烧酒，我拢要摆些豆仔威士忌。Oh, I think we Steve is the word. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we have Qingdao beer, 啤酒。我手边你看他们还有在想吗？So very Hokkien is bud.
Here it is. So yeah, the other one is when I showed the library, the Chinese section of Ateneo, so SNT. Things like that, you know, your daily experiences really influence a lot of what the person you are now. So when I started doing these videos, it was more for fun, and I didn't really intend to, you know, for them to be something that I actually do for most of my time. And this is my Ama. So I'm an Ama's boy. And I spend a lot. Some people would call my accent Taidokakyu, mainland accent, and I got it from her because I mostly spent my time at home with my grandma, and she would talk to me. So yeah. So last 2 years ago, this is part of the presentation. The story I'd like to share with everyone in relation to Hokkien is that in our youth organization called the Manila Downtown YMCA, we had a Hokkien contest. And this is where we invited Father Ari to give a recorded keynote speech, so that so that there's support from the academy. And these students that you see, some of them are from Tianjin, from Shanghai, and some of them are from Kaohsiung, and from other schools in Binondo. And the goal of the project was very simple. It's to promote Hokkien among the younger generation. And I was very edified when I met this fellow here. He's here now actually. I did not expect him to be here, but he's there seated at the back. And he joined the camp for this contest firstly, and then later on joined the organization. Tapos nilapitan niya, sabi niya, Justin, I watch your videos. I'm very inspired. And then he keeps talking to me in Hokkien. So I did not understand. Parang maybe this person really does like speaking Hokkien. Maybe Jasper is very good at speaking Hokkien, and he was raised by fluent speakers of Hokkien. So when I met him, I was really edified. He's one of many people, young people in our organization who approached me, who I just met, told me that because we have these videos on TikTok, they're inspired to speak it daily. Something that parents cannot do, but TikTok can do, right? So it's very it's very shocking that TikTok can actually encourage the younger people to do these things, right? And so even in the organization, when I was the president, I found myself speaking to my peers in Hokkien naturally, which I don't do with my other group of friends. Parang siguro there would be that group of friends that you speak Hokkien to. But in this organization, and because we all promoted that project, parang for us, it was a shared value that, okay, even if I may not be as good a speaker as Hokkien as that person, or I may speak Hokkien, you know, parang putol-putol, I will try my best. When I talk to some of my friends, they may not speak very straight Hokkien, but at least they try. And that's, I think, what matters. So, going back to the contest, it's been running for 2 years now. And this coming year, we'll have the third run of it. I'm not the president anymore, but the former project head is also here. I didn't expect him to be here. Charles is here. Please raise your hand to be acknowledged. Charles, I'm very passionate about it. He's an intern student, very young also. And these were the winners recently. Yeah. So because of all this and because of the stories that I've shared with you today, I can share a lot more, but I don't have enough time. But because of all this, I'd like to propose an optimistic view that Philippine Hokkien will, because of what's happening in TikTok, because of how powerful it is, and because of the content creators now, it's not just me, Sir Thunder will show other content creators who also make videos speaking in Hokkien. But because of this, I'd like to put forward this assertion that Philippine Hokkien will continue to thrive for the next generation because of the hope that these young people have, and because of the genuineness of their intentions. They really want to promote Hokkien to make the culture alive, right? And to preserve the language of our ancestors who have come before us. So this ends my talk, and thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you so much, Justin, for that great talk. It's really cool to end with that very optimistic note because although Justin is in the YMCA, the traditional Chinese spaces in Manila, he's also showing how Lanangwe can be alive in more new spaces like social media. So let's move to our next speaker. For education and Hokkien on TikTok, we have Sanderson Tan is a language professional with extensive experience in language instruction, interpretations, and translation. Currently serving as a language instructor, assessor, and translator by invitation at Berlitz Language Center Philippines. Since 2010, he has made significant contributions to language education. Previously, Thunderson served as a Chinese language teacher at St. Stephen High School from 1993 to 2006, and served as the head of the Chiang Kai-shek Language Center from 2018 to 2023. Let's give a hand to Thunderson.
Thank you. Because I'm not really proficient in English, so please bear with me. I'll be using hybrid language. So that is also the trademark of Chinoys. We don't speak straight English. We speak a little bit English, a little bit Hokkien, a little bit Tagalog, and a little bit Mandarin. Although I'll be excluding Mandarin today. Okay. My topic is education in Hokkien in TikTok, but I will focus more on Hokkien in TikTok. When I was growing up, isa lang ang alam kong Hokkien. Hokkien, Jusi Hokkien, Jusi Panam ko eh. Kinadit ko lang itong Panam ko eh, kasi si Kong Vietnam ko eh. But when I was small, I always hear my dad say Panam ko eh. I even remember one of my colleagues in St. Stephen's, he said, "Woman yaw, kan woman the sesam chang mananhua." But it's not mananhua, it's minanhua, right? So why will she say mananhua? Because she is a Hokkien speaker. So, let's say the first generation Chinese, we speak more Hokkien in school than Mandarin. Okay, and then my dad's Mandarin is 你系中国人 is a typical 地瓜腔yung how do we say that? Jinjiang accent Hokkien. So when I was growing up, alam mo lang na Hokkien po Banam po And then lately, meron ng Philippine variant, meron ng Taigi, meron ng Singaporean variant, Malaysian variant, at meron pang Lanang po Although, siyempre, when we were small, we don't really say, Kong Banang Pue. We will always say, Kong Lanang Pue. Lanang Pue. So, I think Lanang Pue is already our identity. Huwag na natin i-prove yan. Proven na yan na si Lanang. Punta ka naman si Say, Lanang saan ka siya kaya? Okay, so we're Lanang. That's our identity. And we speak Lanang Pue. Pero dahil ako to, we went to Singapore. And my friend was so naive. She was asking the driver, how come? Easy medyo mangking ko, pero iyan lang kaya ako sa how come Hokkien ko sabi ng driver. At I see din Singapore ko, basta pichingin lugar ko, kanto si Chut. Siyempre traffic tapos hindi driver你是在讲什么福建话我听不懂 And I kept telling my friend 一条听你講啥啦干啦一直也要講福建話siyempre也要聽bakit hindi siya marunong And I said 你注意聽你講啥你注意聽你講啥你講嘅是 hello Okay, so growing up alam ko lang Hokkien. So, why Lanang Pue why hindi ko sa'yo na si Chun, nalikong Lanang Pue. If why Lanang Pue, ganyan, if why higun, may kama na yan. Puan-puan, sesya. Sesya. So, I would be, puan-puan ang tawag ng papa ko sa Huanagong kasi. So, he would say, Puan-puan or Huanagong. So, if I speak Hokkien with my dad, it has to be pure. Gumbaba si Lanang Pue si 100% pure. Pero ngayon, na-realize ko, it's so hard to speak pure Hokkien Pue. Although until today, I still try as much as possible to speak pure Hokkien Pue. Medyo hindi ako fan ng hybrid Hokkien Pue. Medyo hindi ako fan ng, di kanchulo ba? It hurts my ears. Parang, hindi nga kanchulo ba? Di kanchube, si kanchulo ba? Kasi Tagalog. Pero lately, na-realize ko, bakit sa Singapore pwede? Bakit sa Taiwan pwede? Bakit sa Malaysia pwede? Sa Philippines hindi pwede? Kasi wala tayong pera. So it's because of our social status, because they're strong, they're first world, they can assert their language, their own language, the Singaporean Hokkien. They can assert Taigi. Kausapin mo mga Taiwanese, masisira ulo mo. Hindi ko medyo si Hokkien o sira. Kung ko si Taigi si Hokkien o Holo o ito sa Holo. Basta, they would fight with you. Meron pa sa YouTube, they are saying, it's not Hokkien way. It is Taigi, Taiwan way. Although maybe it's because of politics or what. But, I just realized something na, in the Philippines, we don't really assert our Lanang way. Actually, when I was growing up, Lanang Pue is a loser language. It's so lame. Because I just didn't tell my papa that it show you. I find them so lame. Honestly, musically speaking, sobrang loser. Mas maganda yung kanta ng Gento. Mas maganda yung kanta ng Dini. Mas maganda yung kanta ni Michael Jackson. We wouldn't listen to Hokkien Pue. So the Lanang culture and also Lanang Pue became a loser thing. And we are so ashamed of speaking Lanang Pue, at least in my generation. Na-realize ko lang, nung nag-work na ako sa Chiang Kai-shek, tsaka ko na na-realize na magaling pala ako mag-Lanang Pue. Although I thought pa si Puan-Puan, hindi ko na ako pwede di Puan-Su, di ko ay kaulo yung, di si Puan-Puan na, di kong siya Lanang Pue, di ko ito, kikong, di ba? And then, when I went to Chiang Kai-shek, everybody was speaking Mandarin. And doon ko lang na-realize, ang galing ko pala maglanang ko eh. Kasi yung hindi nila alam, nasasagot ko. Even the older teachers na I respected very much, I remember one teacher, sige, 资深的老师, veteran teacher, no? And then, sabi, come siya ako, ito siya, talong na naman yun siya, talong. Kasi, talong ang tsai niya, buhaw. She's 70-something, she's gonna retire, and then I was here teaching, and then I said, hindi naman ako kwanhan eh. Kung pinagbibigaw mo, hanago nga. Anyway, so recently, the trend has changed. Everybody's, I mean, a lot of people love Hokkien Huay now, Lanang Huay, and there are groups like this, meron pa nga sa YouTube, sa Facebook, mga underground groups, mag-i-invite sa mga Hokkien, speak Hokkien, and then you have the Hokkien contest done by YMCA. I think YMCA, alam mo, congrats ha, kasi after 10 years, pag nauso na yan, kayo yung pioneer. YMCA. Anyway, okay. So, yaho na ho, ibiginalit yan sa natin kung Lanang Huay, because I really thought Hokkien Huay, Lanang Huay, can be considered vulnerable language, pero hindi ako linguist, so I will not assert that. Ang explain mo lang is itong severely damaged, severely endangered language. Matawa lang kasi natutulog eh. Language is spoken by grandparents and older generations, while the parent generation may understand it. They do not speak it to the children or among themselves. Sige sila tinalit eh, kasi Hong Kong. I don't know if we're critically endangered. The youngest speakers are grandparents, hindi pa naman. So medyo nasa severely endangered ang Lanang Huay. I don't know, what do you feel if you think of this na, sige Lanang Huay, si severely endangered, not Hokkien Huay. Yung Hokkien Huay ng China is not endangered, kasi hindi kinakiyatsa lang kung Hokkien Huay. But sila Philippine Lanang Huay, I think spoken by grandparents and older generations na lang. Okay? Not until now, because of Lanang Symposium, Lanang Archives, thanks to Sir Wilkinson, di ba? Pero there came a time na I was really worried about this, because what among din ko, what is your alma mater? Nawala kayo, no? Kasi ko yan eh. Kasi what's your alma mater? Asan siya? Sa Paco, di ba? Sir, di alma mater si siya. Hindi. Jubilee. Asan ang Jubilee? Asan pa, di ba? Pag ako tinanong mo, ito ang alma mater ko, 999 shopping mall. Tataka kayo, no? Because that used to be Kauhem Memorial Academy. Tan Sin Su Inc. Tan Sin Su yan. I'm proud of this student. Pero wala na yan. It has already closed. So, if I talk about my school, wala, non-existent. Memories lang. Kaya I can feel what it feels to lose an alma mater. To lose something that is a part of you that is irreplaceable. I mean, have you lost money? Yes. Have you lost your phone? Yes. Have you lost a loved one? Yes. Replaceable yan. Loved one siguro hindi. Pwede pa rin isang another loved one. Okay? Pero, pag tinanong ko na have you lost an alma mater, parang kakaiba yun. So, yan ang nafe-feel ko if I think that one day, wala na yung Hokkien Huay or Lanang Huay in the Philippines. Especially my dad's Lanang Huay. Kasi, may mga Lanang Huay kasi na I used to grow up hearing. Kung nakapagkakilala ko may Lanang Huay ko na hindi ko na naririnig ngayon. Halimbawa, mga sa'yo, or uli yun, na hindi na ginagamit ngayon. Sa Lanang Huay na hindi ginagamit ngayon, no? Why ko si Swap? Pagkati, no? Don't reveal your age by raising your hand. Yin Ka Jia Chu. Okay. Kam Tao Kam Bin. Okay. Hoa Tao Hi Bin. Sige ka common. Okay. Tiyong Tiyok. Pagkati mo. Tiyong Tiyok. Kung naupipepele, may nirereto sa akin na babae. Eh, hindi ko type. Tapos, isa, di kao ibe. Di kao ibe. Go get. Isa, tiyong Tiyok. Le-emote na. So, chiko ay wala na. Hindi ko na naririnig. I confirm if nagka-identity crisis ba ako, talaga kami ganun salita. So, I asked Marvin to search his old dictionary. And nahanap niya. Meron nga. Sang, easy. So, meron pa, no? Hong tak. Wala, ulitin ko, ha? Ting, jin, di mo tiyaki ko. Pero so, ting, jin,就是jin, din, jin. So, maraming mga words na lagi ko naririnig my dad say. And every now and then, it will come out from me. Only to realize na, boy, ay, mga boy, ako tiyan lang kasi, mga boy, ako si Boy, kung sa'yo, ha? Even ito, ay, boy, ikiyang nawala na. Medyo na-extinct na. So, I have a fear na wag sana lalilan ng poem ma-extinct. And then another thing is when you search Hokkien in media, this is what you will see. So, when you search the internet about Hokkien, you'll see videos ng Hokkien poem, Singaporean Hokkien, Malaysian Hokkien, Taiwanese Hokkien, and Hokkien in China. Something like that. Sige si Emang Panang Oy Kang. And then, Dia Tiaki.
它不是摸的 occurs in Hokkien. 摸的 in Hokkien is 驢包. Lui means money. 驢包.
你那boleh kong Lui包，你那boleh kong ano. So anyway, sige si Taiki naman.
You come to someone, you say, 画沙小. So a lot of times they'll look away. When you say that, they look away, they maybe look somewhere else. That's when you take a step into them and you say, 画沙小. Yeah, there you go. I'm trying to get it. So you gotta say hello to each other. You say hello, just step in and say, 画沙小. You know what what the fuck you
Malaysian, he is an American Taiwanese. So yeah, Hokkien or si Taiwanese, sorry lan adults, lan professional. Lan si kung alam mo kung ano yun, saya mo kung ano yun. Lan mga negosyante sa ulit kong try ko, sandi lang. U Taiwan u Singapore u Malaysia, u Tiongkok o Philippines bola. Okay? So, ano na mangyayari sa Hokkien po eh? O, teng na siya si ka-okan na nung ngayon tayo kaya so, hasan kim Congo hindi binakong na ko yun, it translates to something bad, evil, parang bad vibes, loser, it's lame. So, ginalong to ay hasan mo si Anikon and Ocean. Okay, unlike when you watch movies like or videos like this, there's a positive vibe, parang cool, right? And sama just din kung kaya siya to. So there was one day when I got in Dr. Poa, when we were still in Championship, actually Dr. Poa gave me this idea of doing this TikTok. She said, na in the Philippines lang po, Singapore di ko ani. And then naisip ko, oo nga no, if I do that, I'll be the first one. And so, I made my TikTok account promoting the Hokkien culture or the Lanang culture. That was how it started. That's why, today, in the Philippines, if you search Hokkien, ito na yung makikita niya. Anyway. Marvin, I have a question. Will you include bomba in your dictionary?
Justin Chua 24,
yeah, i-follow niyo si Justin ha. Ala.
Okay.
Galing mag-plan ako Mandarin ko, chicha, luto pa ako.
Sorry. Sorry.
Galing galing mag...
Sorry.
Okay. Ba't sige mo ako? Thunder. Mas magaling. Ito, mas magaling. Thunder, parang magaling na ako. Galing galing mag-plan ako Mandarin ko, chicha, luto pa ako. Marami masarap pagkain. Gawat something.
Anyway, there are also some TikTokers na they're not very vocal about teaching Hokkien. But at least they're professing that they're Hokkien or Lanna, like Benedict Hua. And there's a chemist. There's a Chinese chemist, I think her name is Shea. Recently, she talked about the West Philippine Sea. She talked about it. And then we also have, her name is Angelica. From Shanghai also. Anyway, din na ako po TikTok account. It's just as easy as creating a Facebook account, Viber account, YouTube account, email. As easy as that. I think the trend is going there. Lana ang ginlaw, sige, in Leos. Sige, trend is, it keeps going forward. Baka malaos na yung TikTok saka gumawa ng TikTok too late na. It is very powerful. Okay? Sa mga Justin, upong ako. But in the end, of course, you can only learn a little sa TikTok. Di mo nang otsinsuela. Yung wala ito kaya kaya sa kotse kasi siya easy, gano'n. You can only learn as much. But the point is, siyempre di ako si you really have to learn if you want to learn. But I think, ang importante dito is yung effect. There are many people who approached me and told me, uy, di video ni Aho, Chiyo. Kasi Chiyo, paktot niya. Ako, hindi naman ako natatawa. Parang feeling ko it was just, ano lang, normal lang. Pero they can relate kasi nga, it's not available online. You don't see contents like this. And then finally, you saw something that we can relate to because it's our own thing. So this is a more efficient way of encouraging and inspiring people to love, promote, to preserve the Hokkien culture, the Lanang culture. More efficient than what our teachers do in the school, honestly. Okay? Pero syempre, if you want to learn, you still have to rely on your teacher. We cannot learn a language from TikTok lang. Okay? Masya.
So thank you so much, Sanderson Dan, for that great discussion. Now I would like to invite everyone to join us here in the lovely IKEA setup. While I have everyone come here up to the front, let me just briefly introduce myself so you understand where I'm coming from with my follow-up questions. So I am John Peter Chua. I am a Chinese-Filipino filmmaker and writer. So I make short films in Lanangwe. And so I share similar sentiments and journey of our discussants here. So I'm a third-generation Chinese-Filipino, so yung navigating identity and yung parents mo who may not be so fond of you taking up something that doesn't make money, I understand that. Given the discussions of our discussants, I would like to bring up some points that I noticed because I realized that there's bringing up yung parang aesthetics of being Chinoy or Chinese-Filipino and how we grew up having these cultural images or icons that may not have aged as well and we don't necessarily relate with. And so younger Chinese Filipinos who may not associate with themselves with these icons would want to see, Sumo Asian comics, would want to see younger Chinoys on TikTok. And so at the same time, I realized that everyone is Gong in their family. Everyone is a Gong in their family. You're not smart enough for your grandparents, which I also understand. But when you speak to Lanang outside of your family, you then realize that, hey, Hokkien way, your Hokkien is actually pretty good, and then you get encouraged suddenly. And so I realized with the creation of the work of our discussants, they're creating new spaces for Chineseness, for Lanang Wen, for Lanangness, to then thrive and be encouraged. And so, sorry, hindi na pala. Yeah. So I would like to share the table and ask, like, what is the experience starting out, your practice of TikTok or of the comics, and then, of course, this is your initial intention, but what was then the response of the community of both Lanang and non-Lanang, and how did that inform your understanding of what Lanang is? So we can start with Asian comics.
Sorry, the question was?
So the question was, what was your thought process going into creating the comics, and then what did you learn from the response of the Lanang and non-Lanang?
From personal experience, again, Asian comics was supposed to be just our personal outlet for what we've experienced growing up. But once we started putting out our comics, we realized that we would be getting like messages and all that about people that, hey, this also happens in my family as well. So it's like we're able to compare and contrast on our own. It's not just new experiences. These kinds of things may be funny, but sometimes there are also other things out there of the sakit, and like, oh, you experience it as well. So again, it opens up lines of conversations that before would normally be taboo, but then now, like, Asian comics gave people this avenue to openly talk about these things, and why do people still hold on to these things, and how can we evolve our like attitudes towards some of these certain topics that we cover in Asian comics.
I guess to add to that, the initial response, I think it was more of like really mixed. But most of the time we see comments like they would tag their dad, their friends, na parang, haha, ikaw yan, no? Or parang, haha, ikaw this sanguine, gano'n. Things like that. And we were like, okay, so it's not just me. Like, before we release our comics, actually, just to give you guys a thought process, I do the line art, he does the coloring, and before we release the content, we still talk about it. I'm like, does it only happen to me, or does it happen to you? So if it happens to both of us, ask your post natin, and let's see who else feels the same way or can relate.
Starting out, I didn't really know what I was doing. But gradually it was enjoyable, and some people were like, I didn't know the word for that one, so thank you for making this video. And later on, it became more of like, I can do this wherever I am and whenever I have free time. So gradually it became more fun and more enjoyable. And I would find myself also encouraging other people to do the same, because the more people that do this, the more we can get it all over TikTok, and the more we can really promote the language. So I would encourage people here and my friends as well. I tell this to them a lot, is that if you have a TikTok account and if you can make content, you don't have to show your face. You can even just post images, as long as it's for something good and it's for the advocacy of promoting Hokkien. I think it's going to go a long way. So yeah.
For me, the initial response was supportive. I guess there's really a need for Hokkien content because a lot of people are looking for this. Parang nakaka-identify kasi ang Chinoy, but somehow sobrang scarce nung ganitong klaseng content. So in my case, when I started, everybody was already supportive. Everybody was talking to me like, nakaka-relate daw sila, thanks for the videos. So, kahit na madagdagan kayo ng mga 10 o 20 creators talking about Hokkien, I think it's not yet enough pa rin. So, I also encourage you guys, if you have anything to showcase, you can do it. If magaling ng luto, or sumayaw, or acting, or any field, and then you can incorporate the Hokkien language, the Lanang.
So thank you everyone. Now I would like to open the floor for questions. We have, okay, I saw your hand first, go ahead. Yeah.
So
So you can use the mic at the middle. Okay, you'll go second. You'll go second.
Kay Seth ka, kay TNT.
Sorry, can you introduce yourself?
Sorry, I'm Nina pala. I saw bilang ng symposium on so Asian comics. That's why I'm here, so thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
So, ang question ko is actually more on some future projects niyo. Like, first question is, what are the chances that you will join Philippine International Comics Festival? It's actually on July 22-21. I know that it's possible for creators to, apply for some, I forgot what it is, but if you get selected, you can develop the comics and have it published by Comiket. So I want to ask, what are the chances that you will actually try that out? Kasi if your comics is published in Pico, it can, possibly go to France or to Germany, expansion talaga eh. So, ano yung chance sa you to try that?
Okay, actually, it's not released yet, but I think we can say it. We're already okay. So, we actually have a small comic that we created for Comiket specifically. So they have pamphlets that they're giving out during the convention, and we have a 2-page comic there. And as for that convention, because of our schedules, we're not able to make it. We already have it early, so we're actually planning to join. And yeah, we've actually talked to that already. Kung ano yung sinabi mo, we're actually thinking of joining. But every time kasi we go to conventions, we have people coming over, right? Like the fans or yung mga readers namin would come over. Pero usually kasi when it's hard, right? Like putting out token or na content. You only get yung mga lanaway speakers din. So parang usually, very niche talaga siya. So every time we have booths there, we have a few people coming in, pero kunyari if it's non-Chinoy, parang hindi sila nakaka-relate dun sa Great Wall, yun na. And there are a bunch of other things, but we have to explain it. So, yeah, I think going back to your question, we're definitely going to join next year. It happens naman every year.
And that there are also other events that are related to comics and stickers as well, actually. So we're actually getting invites for those. So stay tuned.
Okay, follow up naman is, where can I find the 2-page comics that you were talking about?
Oh yeah, it's actually a limited edition comic by Comiket, or the Philippine International Comic Festival. So I think they're only giving out 2,000 copies. We're getting just one copy, like just one free copy. But I think if you go there, they only have it for the first 2,000 or 100 attendees. So yeah, it's there. So if you wanna check it out, we're actually gonna post it as well
on So Asian Comics.
Yeah, we will post it on our page as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Alright. Yeah, go up to the mic.
Hello, my name is Rain. My question is relatively simple lang. What's your best or worst memorable online feedback or engagement? In short, in Gen Z terms, how do you deal with bashers, for example, or what's your best approach in the comics world or in TikTok where everybody has their own opinion with whatever they have since they have their freedom of speech? So how do you deal with the bashers?
Let's start with Anderson and Justin.
I guess I have the most bashers. Depends. If it's too stupid, sorry to say that, Dog Show, it works for me. And then my followers will grow dramatically high. So if you'll notice, nung nag-start ako sa TikTok, I made use of them. Wala di yung ina. Yung mali yung sinabi niya, sobrang baseless. Hindi man lang niya inisip, bash lang ng bash. If you have a TikTok account, you have to utilize these comments and show them in their face that their comment is so beautiful. It's so stupid, and people will relate. And meron akong ginawang ganun. Sabi niya, i-translate ko na yung buchiki. So, bobo chichang chigidi kong koila buchiki. I-translate ko talaga. But if you hear that translation, you can check my face, my TikTok. I was so serious. Pero it's It's kalokohan. It's kalokohan lang. I think I have 5,000 followers in just one day. So you can use it to your leverage. Pangalawa, if it's racial, if it's racist, I don't mind them. I don't answer back kasi they already hate us. I mean, they don't understand. And the situation right now is very sensitive. We cannot add hate. We don't want the Filipino people to hate Lanang. So, pabayaan natin sila. They will soon realize naman. Pero if it's misunderstood, I will explain. I will really point it out na it's like this. That's why I have content saying that we are Filipino Chinese. We're not mainland Chinese. Kasi some Filipinos do not understand na the word Chinese is very vague. It's very general. Diba? Basta alam nila, Chinese to si Chinese to, ito Chinese hantang to. So if misunderstood lang, naive lang siya, I will explain. But if there's a hate, I won't mind it. Pero kung sinabi niya, malis kayo rito, ayaw ko kayo makita, block. Para hindi na niya makita.
I mean, much of what I will say is already what he said, but I just want to add that these microaggressions, I think, that are, parang most of these comments on TikTok, parang they only stay in TikTok. I've never had someone walk up to me and tell me, whatever. I've never experienced that. I mean, I hope no one ever experiences that. Diba? But yung mga ganun, what we usually do is either we just leverage on them and you know, that just don't just ignore it, don't make too much of a fuss about it. So I agree with we have to paint a positive image of the Lanang here, and anything negative will only not really contribute to whatever we have now, which is the situation.
I don't think we had like comments like that. Siguro yung pinaka lang is like in our Tikoy comic. It's more of a funny comment. Like yung comment niya was Tikoy comic kayo ng Tikoy comic, wala nang pag-giveaway. Meron lang ng comments, and sometimes I would see it, sometimes I won't because it will get covered up by all of the comments that come in. Sometimes we get yung mga racial issues also, but it's just like one or two, so it's not really like majority of our audience. So usually mas is the issue about the Western PC, and there are times I'm so tempted to comment back saying, oo atin. But we just kind of like let it stay. Pero it's just one or two, so we just ignore it usually.
On my end, mine actually happened in real life, actually. Unfortunately, what happened was we had this booth for So Asian Comics merch in a mall, and we were selling our comics and merchandise. And honestly, there was this sadly older Chinoy uncle who, again, publicly berated me for how come you're doing So Asian Comics and yet you can't speak properly again. So for me, it's more of like, it's circling back to like what I experienced in childhood. So, yeah, that was like the only unpleasant experience I had when it comes to So Asian Comics, and sadly, it had to be discrimination within the Chinoy community.
Thank you so much. So do we have, Dan from the back? Thank you, please approach the mic.
Hi, I'm Stan. So this question is obviously not for Kim and Seth because I talk to them like every day. So this is for Sir Thunderson and for Justin. So I appreciate the type of content that you put out there because I think it's a great way of really putting forward our culture and our people. But how do we avoid exoticizing our community? Because I think yung portrayal of the Chinoys has traditionally been exoticized by things like Manobo, things like My Binondo Girl. You're laughing, right? Because it's such an exotic portrayal of the community. So how do we avoid doing that?
What we've been trying to do recently was to reach out more to our followers. Recently, we've been doing a lot of lives, and personally, I do talk to a lot of my followers through the messaging option. So I think because the content that I make and is is more of that, tends to be more of that. There's a tendency for it to be exoticized, is what I mean. What I really try to do is I try to reach out to my followers and try to also do vlogs so that they actually see what I do. And I'm not a comic character that that they see. I'm also human, and so are other people. And I think what Thunder does in his own content is that he just records us going out to eat, right? And although there would be instances where we would poke fun at the Chinese accents and stuff like that, but simply by connecting with them and putting out positive content, not so much of the negative kind, but more positive. I think that really connects with them, and somehow through those engagements, like talking to them through the live and inviting them, sometimes even parang video calling them with them in the live and all that. I think that makes us humanizes more their perception of what it really means to be Chinoy. And a lot of our followers are also Chinoy themselves, so they would understand. And some of them may have Chinese ethnicity, but were not raised in a Chinese family. We'll also see that through those engagements. So I think that's how we avoid exoticizing, because it's a natural. I think it's a natural tendency, especially for entertainment content. So that's how I would.
Yeah, I agree. You said it all. Reach out. I think reaching out to our followers is very important. Showing them that we're just like you. Pinoy din kami. So we have to show it in our lifestyle.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alright. Little Sally.
So while Lisa goes to the mic, sabi nga ni Kini Aya, we're human too. Kung alam niyo si Kini Aya. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
So hi, I'm really happy to see that there's actually media that is happening or in the art space. So for those that are of course like not approved, like their parents don't allow them to pursue such career paths, what can you say to inspire these people, especially like in the stand-up space? So yeah.
All right. Well, I can only speak from personal experience, because as someone who actually passed LaSalle, I was adamant with my parents that I wanted to pursue multimedia arts in Benil. Even though during this time, 2010, there was still that stigma na, Benil, pagsakan yung mga, hindi ko masalang LaSalle. Even in 2010, during that time, I would still hear that. And my friends would tell their parents, Cedric's going to Benil Multimedia Arts. Pero pumasa siya sa LaSalle. So they have to put that kicker in. Yeah. But I guess on my end, how I was able to get there, because my traditional binomdo Chinoy dad was against, and he wanted me to be in LaSalle because of the prestige, and it doesn't matter what course it was. But my mom, on the other hand, speaking from her own experience, she always wanted to be an interior designer. But the thing was, back in the 70s, Manila, interior designing wasn't such a career path to take. So she ended up in economics and all that. And up to this day, she has regrets for not pursuing that. So she didn't want that for me. So that's why she was able to convince my dad to give me a shot. And if things don't go, well, bagsakyan na yun. Right? So that's why it sort of became like a deal that, okay, if nothing happens in my arts career, I'll come work with you guys at Fantasy. So that was like extra pressure and motivation for me to make it out there as an artist and as a creative.
I guess to add to that also, because we were both from CSB, it's from animation. So obviously my parents didn't like it. Because the first question they asked me when I met my vlog, lanang ba? That's the first question, and I said, meron like 1 or 2, but then eventually they shifted courses. So sabi nila, wait, sir. So the next year they sent me like to the Taiwan tour. Tapos pagdating ko doon, hindi pala Taiwan tour. Kaya siya tour. So yeah, tour instances like that. And this is always a question that comes to us, especially as Pinoy artists. We always say, just pursue what you want. Like, explain to them properly first, like, hindi talaga sila i-hire talaga nila, but eventually show them na kaya ko mag-earn with this. Because like, initially when we started out the comics, hindi natin wala parents namin, yung wala pa kaming masyadong maraming followers, like less than 5K. My mom would be like, when we'd have the booths, she'd be like, inalit ang budget mo, kulang po yun. Mga questions, and we'd be like, okay, just give it time. And eventually, you know, we had to really grow the page, and here we are. So, ngayon, hindi na nila tinatanong kasi pati mga friends nila, share yung comics. So, for me, my advice to people here in this room who want to take up an art course or something unconventional, just do it. Just do it.
And if I may add, it's more of like you really have to show your parents that you have that drive to make it out there. Because from experience, they want that assurance from you that this is what you really want. So I mean, give them that chance of, I want to prove myself to you guys that I can make it out there. And then I guess, you know, like the true quintessential Chinoy, you know, do dealings and negotiate with them. Okay, if I don't make it, then fine. I'll do what you want me to do. Just gamay.
For TikTok kasi, this one is really, the comic side is, I think, hard naman. For TikTok, I think it's slightly different. Kasi for me, medyo, I tell the story of when it was Chinese New Year this year. Sobrang wala akong ginawang video at all. Because I was drained. And I felt like I had to focus more on my studies and all that, because even my mom was like, focus on your studies. You don't spend too much time. And I guess the advice I would tell myself and to others who may aspire for doing something full time, partial maybe, or doing something in TikTok for full time or part time is to just manage the know your circumstances first and foremost, because if you're someone who has a lot of free time and you're someone who's very creative, and if you're someone who can risk not doing something for TikTok, something else for TikTok, then definitely go for it. But you know, it all depends on what you really want. So if you want to do it full time, then by all means. But the thing I would always, you know, hear and I understand also why this would be the advice is to always, you know your circumstances and ride the waves of, you know, the times. Which what that means basically is to you know, try to follow what will keep you sustained financially. So I guess in TikTok it's different because yes, last night I was doing I was putting the numbers on my PowerPoint, and I saw that the biggest earners were actually in TikTok, and they were 20 to 23 years old. People who were very young and earning somewhere around $20 million a month, and that's crazy. And I think if you explain that to your parents, if you're someone who's young and you want to make content on TikTok, oh ma, so okay, go TikTok lahat yan. So if you only communicate with your parents and you know your circumstances for yourself, I think they would really understand. Because TikTok right now is competing with Shopee and Lazada even as an e-commerce platform. And if you were to do that as a site while you make your content for whatever you're passionate about, I think they would really go for it. They would really support you for it. It's very compatible.
So thank you. I'd just like to also add to this really quickly. So as a filmmaker, I don't make money out of it. I have a profession on the side. But I think aside from like just doing it and being strategic, it's also helpful to look up to our mentors. Like for example, my brother who is a professor looks up to Dr. Chu who is a very well-renowned professor, right? And then recently I took on the translation project, and then I sought a mentorship from Sir Joaquin C., who is a successful businessman and translator also. So I feel like we should also look to our elders for those who pioneered certain tracks, like certain key for film. So that we should also show our parents, hey, there's other lanang that are doing unconventional career tracks that we can do ourselves. Yeah. So, question for you.
Cedric, I'm also CSB, and my degree is industrial design. I'm by the way, but I ended up in tourism. So, yeah. Anyway, my question is, why Asian so Asian, not so Chinoy? That's first question, and then the next question is not really a question to Thunderson, but it's more of a reaction to the question of Mr. Stancy on exoticizing their content. From what I've seen, and since I work in culture, they don't really exoticize. They play on the ethnic quirkiness of our community. Now, unlike movies like Manupo, which were obviously done for film, so it's a little bit ersatz and a little bit over the top. What they're playing is basically their own culture. It's just like an Ilocano making fun out of their being kuripot, or a Kapampangan being, making fun out of their loud talking, something like that. So, yeah, I don't think it's exoticizing because it's coming from within the community, I guess. So back to the question. Thank you.
I guess I'll start. Initially, I think we showed you guys our logo studies. We had like different names for it. Tapos nagka-identity crisis pa kami, shucks, ano yung tatawagin natin sa comics natin? Because like, it's a mix of different things, like Filipino, mga Chinese, different elements talaga. And we ended up with yung Asian Comics na name kasi we posted our content also on, if you guys are familiar with the group on Facebook, it's Subtle Asian Traits. So these are mostly people who are, apart from immigrant communities in US, mostly US and Canada. And a lot of them actually like our content. So sabi namin, something a little bit more generic, and that time parang click lang.
So it was more of like, at the time when we decided on Soul Asian Comics, it was because of it. We discovered that a lot of immigrant Chinese communities as well, in Malaysia, even in the US, Canada, they relate to our stuff. So we didn't want to be, I guess at the time, like just, Chinoy. So we decided to go with, okay, so Asian comics, so that but it's not specific, but so that it captures a lot of what other immigrant communities can relate with.
And I think a lot of the communities abroad, especially sa US, Canada, they use the word Asian. So we just felt like, sige, let's just use the term for our comics.
So that is it for everyone. Sorry we don't have any more time for questions. But if you have any additional questions, please feel free to talk to our panelists afterwards.